Welcome to Wager Talk TV. I'm Kelly Stewart, joined by Dave Cokin and Adam Trigger of WagerTalk.com. We're headed out to the Pac-12 late night slate, 9:30 Eastern kickoff. The Trojans, who I've bet against for the last 2 weeks, are taking on the Oregon State Beavers. I like the Beavers. I took 6.5. I didn't put anything on the money line, and I probably should have. But this Beavers team played spoiler last year to USC, and I thank them for that. Dave, do you think they can play spoiler 2 years in a row?
Yeah, I was hoping for 7, and it looked like the line was heading that way because it had gotten to 6.5, but now it's dropped back to 5.5, so I guess the 7's not going to happen. But I lean Beavers here. Look, this is not a knock on USC. They've done nothing wrong so far, but they've gotten a lot of good breaks. They're plus 10 already in turnovers. I'm not sure about their defense. The offense is fantastic. I mean, they're going to score on anybody. But the defense, I think, is still kind of ordinary. And Oregon State has shown me so far that they've got the offensive capabilities to get it up and down the field, not in fancy fashion. They're kind of just, we're going to slug it out with you. They don't make a lot of mistakes. And that being the case, I think this game's a real toss-up. I don't know if I'll actually bet it because the 7 is what I wanted. And I'm not sure I want to take 5.5. But to me, the indicators here are with Oregon State. And if you want to look at the line movement from that standpoint, that's also another indicator on Oregon State. If I do take Oregon State, I'll also splash a little money line because I think they've got a chance to win the game. So right now, we'll call it a strong lean on the Beavers to give USC a real good battle on Saturday night.
I would have to agree, but as I said, I bet against USC the last 2 weeks, and you mentioned those turnovers, Dave. That would have been the dagger for me. Hopefully, Oregon State's defense can get a couple of turnovers of their own. This total 71, Adam, and that's also kind of what kept me away from the dog because Dave thinks that Oregon State is going to be able to match scores sort of, in some sort of way with this Trojans offense. But I know that Trojans defense is going to give up some big scores as well. Typically, when I look towards a dog, I'm looking for the better defense on the field, which the Beavers do have. But I got a little gun shy. Those 0-2s against USC, I know I shouldn't let it affect me, but it definitely did in my decision-making process on who was going to make my parlay this week.
Yeah, Cal, well, we'll start with that. I mean, Oregon State can really run the ball. And they should move it here. So, I mean, they should at least hang in the game from that respect. And if you're going to point to one weakness on USC so far, it would be the defense. But with that being said, Cal, I'm enjoying being right about this USC team so far. Before the season, I went on shows. I picked them to win the Pac-12, said they had an outside shot to make the college football playoff. And they've actually probably saved me money because even though it looks like a good bet to fade them, I haven't done it yet, and they're 3-0 against the spread. And I'm not going to do it here either because, kind of like Dave said, I would want at least 7. And I have reason to think that Oregon State, could get blown out in this game. First, let's go back to last year. Oregon State, Cal, I know you remember the game well. It was a huge game for you. They killed USC in this matchup. And Oregon State has lost 10 of their last 11 games in the revenge, being on that end of the revenge spot. So that's not great for Oregon State there. And then it comes down to, they both have the common opponent in Fresno State. And Fresno State moved all over Oregon in that game and really should have probably won. I mean, you could make a case that it was just a great game that went down to the wire, but Fresno State had that game right until there were zeros on the clock. Oregon State wins on the final play. Caleb Williams, the front runner to win the Heisman now. And I don't know that the ceiling, we even really know what the ceiling is for this USC offense, because it is comprised essentially out of guys from the transfer portal that Lincoln Riley it's put together. So to sort of suggest that there's going to be regression is even tough to do because it's still kind of an unknown. Jordan Addison's been great. USC is going to score. I think the total kind of suggests that. So I'm kind of with Dave in the respect that to play Oregon State here, I would have wanted maybe 7 in the hook, because I do see a scenario where they're going back and forth, up and down the field. And if USC scores the last touchdown, they probably win and cover. So I actually lean the Trojans here, but it's a weird spot. So I'm probably going to stay off, but I lean USC in this one.
I want to just jump in with one thing. I don't think you can compare the two Fresno State games because if Haener doesn't get hurt last week, I think Fresno State's in that game. Not that the backing was okay, but it did change their offense. So I don't think there's a lot to draw from the Fresno State-Oregon State game compared to the Fresno State-USC game, because the best player on the field from Fresno State is Haener, and he got hurt early in the game and he wasn't there. So you have to me, you kind of toss that out.
Dave, not according to Twitter. They told me that Fresno State was getting blown out regardless. So
it's not even that. It's just the fact that Fresno State put up, I think it was close to 500 yards in that game, 492 yards in the game, 360 through the air. So I guess the way I look at it, if Fresno's going to move it like that on Oregon State, I'd like to think USC can as well. The total suggests that may be the case, but it's, again, guys, I don't it looks like an Oregon State play. If you look at where the tickets and stuff are going, it does. I'm just saying I won't be betting against USC this weekend.
And again, just to close it, if you don't get the number you want, then just screw the game. Leave it alone. I wanted 7. I'm not going to get it. There's 9,000 other games to play that day.
Yeah.
So I'll probably stay out of this one.
Words of wisdom from Dave Cokin. It's okay to pass on a game. Make sure you guys head over to wagertalk.com. Check out what Adam and Dave have up for sale. Adam got a $2 Tuesday play that's kicking off on Friday night, and you guys can bet. If it doesn't hit, we'll hear about it on The Hustle.